contrast from what we heard today from these VFW members and veterans from what we often hear when I go to VFW calls across the country. On many occasions, our veterans rightly and justifiably ask about things like the VA healthcare system or veterans benefit programs like the VA home loan program or the 9/11 GI Bill. We didn't hear a single question today from these veterans who have served our nation with pride about those kinds of veterans programs, because the things all veterans care about most, whether they served in Vietnam or whether they served in Iraq and Afghanistan, is the security of this nation. And the veterans who spoke today, like those I've heard across the country in the last week, are just mortified by the fiasco we see in Afghanistan today. Whether you agree or disagree with the President's decision to withdraw troops from Afghanistan, I think all Americans recognize it is a fiasco that we have left 10 to 15,000 Americans behind enemy lines, in addition to so many Afghans who served alongside of us. The President did not have a plan to evacuate those Americans, to support the other nations in our coalition who served alongside us, needed to evacuate their foreign nationals. I think Americans have been shocked by the footage that we've seen in Kabul over the last few days of Afghans storming the airport, trying to strap hang off Air Force planes as they fly out of the country. And Joe Biden still owes answers to this country. Just today, he was claiming that the airport is open and the tarmac is secure, which begs the question that no one can get into the airport safely. My office has been on the phone with American citizens just outside the gates of the Kabul airport who are being beaten with clubs and sticks and chains, having their passports stolen, or Afghans who are having their visa paperwork stolen by the Taliban, refusing to let them get to the airport. The British military and the French military are stopping the Taliban at those gates from attacking persons trying to enter the airport. They're going on patrols in Kabul to find their citizens, yet President Biden still won't authorize our military to do so. There'll be plenty of time to assess how this catastrophe came to pass, but in the days ahead, what we have to do is make it clear to the Taliban, make it clear to our citizens that we'll be at Kabul airport as long as it takes to get them all out, that we'll do what it takes to stop these Taliban abuses, that we'll go into Kabul, and we'll collect them up, and we'll bring them back safely to the airport. And if the Taliban stands in our way, they will suffer the gravest of consequences. That is what we owe to our fellow citizens who are currently stuck behind enemy lines in Kabul. I think Ashley now will open it up and take questions.
I know you guys are trying to get asked about the administration, but what can you do from the federal level to intervene?
Well, real quick, I know Senator Cotton mentioned that Americans have been reaching out to his office. Hundreds of people have been calling our office as well, so our caseworkers are working as we speak to connect people in the district who know Afghans who are needing that extra help, or Americans in the area. So our office is working to connect with the State Department and to try to get those resources. I think we talk about what the Taliban is doing over there. We can't trust the Taliban if we know that. That's why I think what Senator Cotton said about making sure they understand the full force of the U.S. military in anything that we do is crucial to making sure that we can get our people out safely.
Yeah, Ashley and her team have really stepped up over the last week to try to help Americans get out. We've been trying to do the same thing. I learned over the last weekend, the gravity of the challenge. When I learned there's an Arkansan stuck behind enemy lines in Kabul. Not Afghans who worked with us, but American citizens came to light over the last few days. It's as many as 10 to 15,000 American citizens. I want to stress that this is not a role that a congresswoman or senator should have to play. This is why we have a State Department. But the State Department has been asleep at the switch the last week. So many Americans have tried to contact them. They couldn't reach the line here at our State Department. They were told to go to a website, fill out an e-form, and wait for more information. So we've been working around the clock this week to try to connect American citizens with the persons that we know inside the wire, at the airport, to help shepherd them through those contested gates. We'll continue to do that, and we'll do it as long as necessary. But this is a real failing of the Biden administration, not having a plan from the beginning to get all of the American citizens out of Kabul in a timely, safe, fashion.
What have your conversations been like with the governor? I know she was talking about possibly having military practice. What are those conversations been like?
respect every parent's right to make a choice of what's right for their own kids. One thing that Ashley and I can do, and that we have been doing, is trying to get the Biden administration off the dime, for instance, with the FDA to give final and full approval to these vaccines. We now have an enormous pool of data since people have been getting vaccinated since December. There's no reason, in my opinion, that this is still under an emergency use authorization. So the FDA needs to move forward with full authorization. The evidence is clear. If you look at public opinion surveys, more Americans will get vaccinated if the FDA gives final and full approval. Something else they can do is begin to incrementally move vaccine approval down from age 12. Obviously, they don't have the same kind of data that they had on adults and then 12 to 18-year-olds that we got earlier this year. But they should have it for, say, 11-year-olds, and then they should have it for, say, 10-year-olds. So our public health officials in Washington need to move more aggressively to take the kind of routine actions that they should have taken long ago, but is too often caught up in Washington bureaucracy.